Welcome everyone. I'm starting this series to talk about game theory. Teaching game theory to human beings, to people, is like teaching Newtonian mechanics to somebody who already knows how to ride a bike. Human beings have been naturally trained to play strategy games. Humans have humans and pretty much all species have strategized to best of their abilities to reproduce, to find food, to survive, to establish status, dominance. This is an innate ability of human beings, specifically very pronounced, and this may be the only tool in our arsenal that can offer us competitive advantage against a new species that has come in this world, and that is artificial intelligence. There are already many popular examples of application of game theory, um, war strategies between warring countries, negotiation strategies between countries executing a trade deal. In the first video of the series, I want to evaluate the question of our belief in God. Does God exist? Um, so let's take the strawman argument out first of all. Has anyone seen God? The likely answer is no. But that does not explain why 82% of people around the world believe in God. That does not explain why people in populous countries tend to believe God more than people in less populous countries. And it also doesn't explain why people, as they age, they start believing in God more than people of younger age. And I have pointed the research article in the description below. So let's see this problem from a game theoretic point of view. So to make that analysis, let's have a common agreement that human beings are they have two key characteristics. One, that they are selfish, they are working towards their self-interest, and two, they are intelligent, that they are able to distinguish between um, their long-term and short-term benefit. So with that kind of premise understood, let's build a situation where two individuals, they need to interact in a zero-sum game, or in other words, in a particular interaction where the gain of one person is the loss of the other, right? So what happens in this particular situation is the best strategy for the player is to act as selfishly as possible, because that is one instance where they are interacting, that is the only instance for maximizing their gain. So the best strategy, optimal strategy, is to um, play with maximum selfishness, extract as much gain as possible. If I change few rules of the game, let's make this game uh, played indeterministic number of times. Let the game be played again and again, several times. At the beginning of the game, the player doesn't know how many times they will be interacting with the other player. So with this change in rule, the players will start changing their strategies, and call it subconsciously or consciously, their evaluation for what is the strategy for best outcome may start to change. Now, the best strategy to maximize the gain will involve a little bit of cooperation, a little bit of reciprocation. Reciprocation as in playing in a tit for tat mode where the players are reciprocating cooperation from the other player, or they are reciprocating belligerence from the other side of the other player. The other additional strategy for kind of optimizing gain is um, adding a little bit of forgiveness in the system. Now, these three words that I used, cooperation, reciprocation, or tit for tat, and forgiveness, they are commonly understood terms, but at the same time, they are kind of mathematically modeled as kind of a strategy in game theory academic work. So they do kind of mean specific things, specific changes in strategy, specific tweaking in the strategy to optimize the outcome. So, uh, so from the player interacting in a indeterministic number of games, their best strategy is now evolved, and they are cooperating more. Their best strategy is not to be as selfish as possible at the cost of others. The best strategy involves cooperation, tit for tat, and forgiveness, right? So, um, so this kind of change in behavior for the particular selfish and intelligent individual to go from always selfish kind of action to the cooperative tit for tat and forgiveness action is kind of encapsulated in a theory in a theorem called as Folk theorem or general feasibility theorem. The core logic of general feasibility theorem is as long as your conduct is good, the outcomes will be good. If you deviate, we will change to punishment, and the future losses are going to far outweigh your current gains. So, a human being is always analyzing, strategizing this sort of game, this sort of problem, either in a social circle or in a workplace or in a family or among relatives. They are they are analyzing this strategy internally when they are reflecting or ruminating on past events, or if they are planning for a future event. This is running in the mind all the time. We are wired to run this computation all the time. The individual is I can play one of two roles. Either they are receiving the outcome of their actions, or they are doling out the outcome to someone else for their actions. Pretty much the engagement is of one neural network to the other neural network in human, and I'm referring neural network as human mind. One intelligence system to other intelligence system to exert compliance and exert compliance to the long-term outcome and not the short-term outcome. We are predisposed to believing in God. There is a reason why nobody has seen God, but yet 82% people believe in God, because the outcomes are always very real. Even though nobody has seen one, the outcomes are always real for believing, for the key tenets that are proposed by God. Those outcomes are very real. Second, as people age, their the number of scenarios that they have played in their mind kind of manifolds, and they kind of their brains are trained to analyze, strategize again and again for all sort of social interaction that the individual may get into. That kind of lends credibility to the point that their belief in the outcome solidifies, because mathematically the outcomes are still there. The deviants are getting punished, and the ones that are compliant, they are getting rewarded. So as people age, their belief in the mathematical outcome of general feasibility theorem increases subconsciously. Not that they are learning this, but just the statistical evidence of the outcomes that people have been receiving, it kind of reinforces that belief that the outcomes are always real. And thirdly, um, as people are kind of participant in a larger society, large countries with a lot of population, individuals in those places, they are playing these strategy games way more than people living in, say, country with less population, because there are more people to talk to, more people to interact, more situations to play, more situations and scenarios to reflect upon and strategize for. So the mind is always at work thinking about the strategy. So the outcome is even more reinforced. The existence of the outcome is always reinforced. So with all that kind of evidence pointing to the reality of the outcome, the existence of God becomes like a moot point. It is fine if the God doesn't exist, but the outcome always exists. So when the outcome exists, then God exists. Then there is um, somebody is somebody is doling out those rewards and punishments. Somebody is provide acting as a source for um, source for those rewards and punishments. To conclude the topic, with all strategies, planning, social interaction that the human mind has gone through to understand the nuances of indeterministic repeated games, it is impossible for a human mind to comprehend that the outcomes will be doled out by a non-entity. It is simply not possible. The outcomes are real, and the outcomes will be provided likely by an individual um, with similar capabilities, intellectual capabilities as human, or somebody who has kind of more um, capability than a human being. So it becomes really easy for human mind to model that intelligent agent as a god who looks like a human being. With that said, let's end the video here, and I'll see you in the next one.